what do you do when I'm ready to buy a home and you're representing me?
Yeah, so my first conversation with you would be, right, so if it's a house, pest and building report. If it's a unit, strata inspection report. And I always recommend my clients to get those so we can have an idea of, for strata, how much your strata levies are going to be. Make sure the insurance is all up to date with the building and things like that. And then with the pest and building report, obviously if there's any problems for termites and things like that, borers, that's going to come up in that. And so I always speak to them about that first. And then I say, like, once I've got your contract, or I've got your contract, let's come in and see me, we'll sit down and I go through it with you. And tell them to, who's your financier, have you organised anything like that? You need to start doing that straight away.
Right. So when I come to you as a buyer and you say to me, Adrian, which property you're buying and what comes with the property, and then if it's a house, you would order a pest and building report, naturally you want to make sure that it's not falling down or it's got anything majorly structurally wrong. But with a unit, you order a strata inspection report.
That's correct, yeah.
And the strata inspection report has the minutes of the annual general meetings?
Yeah, it'll have everything in it. It'll also have any problems that have come through, if there might have been a leak in another unit or something like that. That'll all be in the minutes of the meetings, and it'll all have attached quotes and things, and when that was fixed, how long ago it happened. So that's why the strata inspection report is just as important as a pest and building report for a house. So it gives you all of that information so you have some idea of what you're buying.
Right,
yeah.
And I guess because within a unit complex, that unit could be 30 years old. I mean, it's so common now, particularly with units that were built in the 70s and the 80s. I mean, we're 2013, so a lot of those units are 20, 30, 40 years of age. So that's obviously going to give you, give the buyer a history of the entire time that it's been strated. Would
yeah,
that be
that's right. Well, I got one the other week for one in Sydney that went back to 1974.
Wow.
So very important to get it, and so you can make sure that there hasn't been any major issues with the building and things like that. So
I remember buying my first home, and it was built in 1936. All right. So yeah, I mean, it was such a benefit to us that we knew exactly what had happened over the life of that unit. And it doesn't matter who owned it, the property managers or the strata managers obviously gave us an indication of the works that had been done, the works that were proposed to be done. And like you said, when you mentioned about fees, as a buyer, you definitely want to know, what are my strata fees? And is there anything indicating in the future that we could be spending extra money on this place? So it could be a cost that I need to factor in, which probably goes back right to the start.
That's right, yeah.
When you mentioned, well, I need to know all the costs associated to this purchase. So if I'm going to buy something, it's not just the purchase price, it's the purchase price and the stamp duty. It's the purchase price, the stamp duty, and if there's any taxes involved, then it might be the purchase price, the stamp duty, the taxes, building and pest report, conveyancing. So there's a lot of components, isn't it?
Yeah, it adds up. But they're all things you should definitely look into. I would never buy a house or a unit without getting those sort of reports. So, and they specialise in it, so that's why you get them.
Absolutely.